Fantastic. Today we have another incredible guest on That's Classic. This woman, I swear, she is amazing. She has done over 300 film credits. She has done multiple books that she's authored. She has been on 5 series. I mean, I could go on and on. She has a monthly podcast. She is a healer. What else can I say? But I definitely want to welcome Dee Wallace. So, Dee, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, what a nice intro. Thank you. No wonder I'm tired, huh? But the only time I can remember being tired this year is
Yeah,
for the first time I got COVID.
yeah, yep,
And I didn't get any of the respiratory stuff, thank you.
yeah,
But I was so tired. And when I get tired, John, it's like I don't even know who I am. It's
yeah.
like, what's going on? I'm in somebody else's body, I
Oh,
don't like it.
I could totally see it. I could totally see it. I'm very much the same way, actually. I'm usually very up, and to have that hit you, you're like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
the
I'll tell you what.
world saying I'm going to make you slow down whether you want to or not, I guess.
It's true, and sometimes it's good to reflect on when you're in that
Yeah.
zone, so that's not such a bad thing, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, first thing that I wanna start with, and I definitely wanna talk about your book, and, she has a new book out, by the way, for everybody listening, but, also, I researched you like crazy, which was so much fun, by the way. I learned
Uh-oh.
things I didn't know, but one thing that I never could find is, did you actually audition for ET?
No,
Okay.
no. I auditioned for used cars.
Oh,
And I didn't get it, obviously.
yeah.
But Stephen works very far into the future. He has all kinds of projects going while he's doing the project he's filming. And according to all the information that I have, he just saw Mary. He wanted, you don't see any of the adults in the
Mhm.
movie except me until the end.
That's
And then
right.
they're the bad guys. So artistically, he wanted the mom to be one of the kids.
Wow.
And he saw that quality in me. And so when ET came along, they just called and offered it to me.
Oh my gosh, to get offered ET the Extraterrestrial,
I
that's like
know.
the gift it was like the gift of the gods handed to you.
Yes, but you have to understand at that time it was supposed to be Steven's little film he was doing in between all his big blockbusters.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, much lower budget than most of his other films. But I think that just goes to show you that when the heart's there and the truth is there, really doesn't matter how much money, as long as you can do it well and keep the quality
Mhm.
superior. I know from a lot of the films I've done that you can do an amazing project for sometimes half the money they think they need.
Sure, sure. I could totally see that. Was he Spielberg when he was on the set of ET then, because you said like you were kind of like one of the kids almost. Was, and I'm kind of guessing this more than anything because of the way he was at that time, but was he childlike himself in that
Oh,
sense?
very much. Well, he was very childlike on the set. He loves what he does, and he loves working with kids. So, when he was with the kids, he was very childlike.
Hmm. And what about
So,
you?
yes, yes is the answer to that question.
What was he like with you then when he was directing you?
Well, I was mostly with the kids, but he was much more direct with me. And this is what I want. This is what I, need. And why the hell did you do that, Dee?
Yeah.
The scene in the at the table
Mhm.
where we're talking about ET, and I say, well, did you tell your father about it? And he says, he's in Mexico with Sally, and you see me take this hit
Yeah, oh, yeah.
on screen, and I felt the tears coming up as Mary, and I thought, oh, I can't let the kids see me cry about this. So I left the table. And Steven ran over to me after cut. And he said, why did you do that? You weren't supposed to get up and leave. And I told him what happened. And he took a few seconds and looked at me and turned and said, all right, fabulous crew, you have a half an hour to build me a wall over here for a kitchen with a sink with running water. You've got 30 minutes, so that he could take me over to the sink and then bring me into that big close up where I say he hates Mexico.
I
And
mean,
it
it's an
all
emotional
just
one.
happened because I gave myself permission to follow Mary. He gave Dee permission to follow Mary. And Mary knew, had Dee and Steven gone to our minds, we would have made different decisions probably.
Yeah, it's so funny because I've watched the film probably 5 times. I mean, it's a very big favorite of mine, and I
Good.
remember that moment really, really well. Like it hits home. It hits home, as you said. It's hitting you heavy. It hits the audience heavy. You're like, oh my gosh, you can really feel this family, and you can feel,
Good.
all that.
That's when the magic happens on a set, is when you have the freedom to follow that instinct that hits you right there in the moment. If you've got to stop and go, oh, is this okay with the director? You're dead,
Hmm.
you know? And then he expanded brilliantly on what happened. And it was just, and every great director I've ever worked with follows that rule. Peter Jackson, when I did the Frighteners, um, they were already breaking, going to the next set. And I went, oh my God, Peter, I've got it. I've got it. And he brought everybody back because we tried it like 5 or 6 different ways, which I don't like.
Hmm.
And he brought everybody back and I did it. And he went, you're right, Dee. That was it. That's what we were looking for.
Wow.
Same thing happened with Blake Edwards when I did 10 with Dudley Moore. They had already broken, going on to set up for the next scene. And Dudley started playing the piano, and he was a master pianist.
He was.
And I was sitting there as Dee, but I was still Mary Lewis because we had just finished this scene. And Dudley started to play, and I got so emotional watching Dudley, and Blake walked by and everybody come back. We've got to get a close up of Dudley playing and a close up of Dee Wallace. See, a good director sees the reality of the magic when it happens.
Hmm.
And that's, I mean, it's a huge close up of me listening to Dudley play. I
Wow.
loved working with Blake. I just and poor Louis Teague. There's no way we could plan anything out on CUJO. You're working with a 6-year-old, brilliant 6-year-old, I might add,
Yeah.
and 13 dogs who played CUJO, and you're just all right on action. Whatever happens, happens. It was the hardest thing I've ever done and a very magical experience.
Wow, wow. I mean, you just went through so much, like, incredible
Sorry.
film history. No, sorry. I was like, I mean, you just blew me away. That was just incredible. So I mean, things were flying through my head. It was incredible. Tell me this, Dee. So thinking about shoot, we'll just jump around the heck with this. What
Yeah,
Dudley Moore, yeah,
loved him.
it felt you kind of feel it, to be quite frank with you. You kind of feel like you guys had a little more of a relationship than just two actors, you know? What did you feel?
Well, we became good friends. We danced on many tabletops in Mexico. He'd say, Dee, a bunch of the crew and I are gonna go out. You want to come? And I go, hell yeah, so let's get off this resort. But he genuinely was a nice man. We had no sexual relationship. It wasn't that kind of relationship at all. But Dudley was the kind of person you would love to have as your best friend.
Oh yeah.
And we just, we had similar hearts. And, you know, he was kind of like a brother to me. That was the first big major film that I did. And you've got to understand and remember, I'm fresh out of Kansas,
Yeah.
right? And so Blake comes over to me. I'm sitting on the bed, right? And we had rehearsed that I putting the sheet around me. And so Blake comes over and sits down and he says, so Dee, what do you think about doing this nude? And my heart went whoop, but I kept my cool. And I said, well, Mr. Edwards, I think everybody else in the movie's nude. And, you know, I've just been to bed with him. He hasn't been able to perform. I feel like that would be kind of be flaunting it in his face. And honestly, if you want to guarantee me 2 more pictures, I'll try.
I love you.
And he looked at me and smiled and went, okay, just wondering, and walked off. But you see, he knew that that would throw me into a huge amount of vulnerability, which very much shows on screen.
Mhm.
Blake became a father figure to me
Oh wow.
and sent me over to CAA, who was his, they were repping him at the time.
Mhm.
And he said, one of the best actresses I've ever worked with, you need to rep her. So
Wow.
they looked at all the film. I had a lot of movies of the week by then and stuff. And at the end, they said, you know, we love your work. We think you're really talented. Come back when you're making 500 grand a year. And I looked at them and said, guys, when I'm making 500 grand a year, I won't need to come back here.
Oh my gosh, well
And
said.
the next year, I booked ET.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
The story. Yeah, and those guys were going, "What were we thinking?"
Yeah, well, they weren't, or they were. You see, they were going from here instead of,
From the heart.
yeah, they loved my work. They loved me and talking with me. And I mean, come on, you're presented by one of, if not the biggest client they
Mhm.
have.
Yep.
It's just, but you know, I've always been led to where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
And later on, I went back to 2 of the bigger agencies. We just never worked.
Hmm.
They thought too corporately for who I am,
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't really know you. Yeah.
or didn't care to take the time to know me
Oh my
either.
gosh.
You know, that doesn't rock and roll in Kansas, you know.
Uh,
Kansas, somebody moves in, you bake chocolate chip cookies and you take them over and go, hi, I'm your neighbor.
yep.
Anything you need, let me know.
Yep.
Right. And I live in a cul-de-sac and everybody in this cul-de-sac, we're on a chain, text chain. everybody, whenever anybody needs help, we all come through.
Yep.
It's very Kansas. You know, that's how I got my first role when I
Wow.
came out to LA was you couldn't get on the lots, you
Mhm.
know? So I thought, well, I'll do what we do in Kansas. So I baked a mass of chocolate chip cookies, wrapped them up in these beautiful baskets, put them in my back seat, went to the guard, and I said, yeah, I got deliveries. He went, okay, go on through.
Oh my gosh.
So I spent the day taking my chocolate chip cookies to all the casting directors, and the last one was Reuben Cannon,
Oh, very
who was
famous.
the head of casting. And he came out and he went, oh, chocolate chip cookies, my favorite. Come on in. So I went in and we started talking, and I said, yeah, I just got here from Kansas. Even though I'd been in New York for 2 years, it was a much better line.
Yeah.
And he got a call. The girl playing the waitress was sick, violently sick. That scene was up next.
Oh my God.
And the guest star was Barry Sullivan, and he was not happy. And Reuben covered the phone. And he said, what size do you wear? I said, what size do you need, baby? He said, can you get into a 4? And I went, one way or another. So he sent me down, didn't know if I could act, right? And that was I played the waitress with Barry, and I'll never
Wait, what
forget that.
show? What show?
Oh, I can't remember right now.
Okay,
Oh
that's
my
okay. That's
God.
okay. I saw your early credits. I saw like Starsky and
Oh,
Hutch. I saw Police
oh,
Woman.
it's way before
Way
that.
before that. Okay.
Yeah. Um, anyway, so Barry Sullivan's supposed to be having a heart attack,
Oh,
and
jeez.
I'm supposed to be helping him. And so we rehearse it, and I see him go over and talk to the director, and then the director goes to the AD, and the AD comes over to me and says, Dee, Mr. Sullivan is requesting that you don't touch him, please, because you're a day player.
Oh, 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 oh. I can't take it.
Well, what do? You can't say what you really want to say. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? Let him lay there and die? I can't touch him. I can't loosen his tie. I can't do any of
Oh.
the natural things. He looked at me and he said, just make it work somehow. So you know what I did? I played the dumb, flustered blonde. Oh, somebody help us. He's having a heart attack.
Oh
I
my
was the
God.
only, not the way I would have chosen to play it, but you know,
Wow.
do
What a
what you have
story.
to do, right?
So that is that how you ended? Did you get your SAG card from that in essence?
No, I'd gotten my SAG card in New York doing a lot of commercials.
Ah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
have over 400 commercials.
I forgot to leave that small little piece of it
Oh,
out. I
please,
mean,
please.
geez, come on.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So that is an amazing story. I mean, that you literally were there, right time, everything just played out beautifully.
Yeah. And at that point, everybody was looking for a vulnerable blonde who had a big emotional life.
Wow. Wow. And
And I
there she was.
walked in. Yeah.
Right. Wow, that's fantastic. What a just amazing. I'm not surprised though. I'm telling you, when I looked at your background, I was like, I don't know. I don't know what she hasn't done. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Oh,
Uh,
lot the one thing I really want to do is Broadway. Would be scare me to death. But I did Annie Get Your Gun at Starlight Theater, which
yeah.
is a huge theater in Kansas City, huge outdoor theater. And I've done plenty of stage over my career, but not ever done Broadway. And that's something I'd really like. I'd
Well,
like to challenge. I love
right.
challenging. Like that's why I loved Cujo so much was it was a huge mental, emotional, and physical challenge to
You
do
were in the
that.
Pinto. You were in that Pinto forever.
Way too long. We were in the Pinto for probably 4 to 5 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and there were 13 dogs that played Cujo, all trained to go after different toys for different tricks because you can't overwork an animal. Me, on the other hand, they treated me for exhaustion for 3 weeks after that film.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I'm still on raw adrenal medicine because, when you do films like that, you are literally in fight or flight during the whole film.
Mm,
And your body and your brain do not know the difference between whether you're acting or whether you're actually doing it chemically. The same thing happens within your body and your brain. So
wow.
I was literally in fight or flight for, I don't know, 7 or 8 weeks.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That's crazy because I know people that have been on that actually, and I understand. I really do because your adrenaline just
Oh, yeah.
on. Yeah.
And your adrenaline and your energy and your focus. I mean, it takes a huge amount of energy and focus to do a film like Cujo. And of
Wow.
course, I adore ET and I love the howling.
Hmm.
Um, but Cujo, I just feel like I went as far as I could go, as truthfully as I could get there, you know?
I think as far as and by the way, not that I'm putting horror films down when I say this, but honestly, as far as a horror film, I think it's one of like the most artistic, like just it's incredible acting. I mean, you and the young
Danny
Danny,
Pintauro,
come on.
amazing. He was, that scene where he has his seizure, because I've really become a mom to all the kids I work with. And I
Mhm.
said, okay, Danny, we're getting ready to do that scene. Are you scared? Do you need help? I'm right here. And he went, oh, that happened to me when I was little. You want to see? And he goes right into it. And I went,
Jeez.
and I don't have to worry about this kid.
Yeah.
He was just there in every single moment with me. And I've been on Danny now for a couple of years. He's coming back into the business, and I'm thrilled.
Oh, I mean, there is incredible talent there. He should for sure.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
wow. Were you speaking of which, were you I mean, obviously everyone thinks of you with ET and they think of Drew Barrymore. Were you close with the kids? Because honestly, felt like a natural family. I mean, I think that's one of the highlights of that film is that when you're watching, it's like I completely believe you. There's no, I'm not
Best
trying to like go,
compliment you can give an actor. Uh, yes, uh, we became very close on the film. Not like they became my kids,
mhm,
you know, but they became my friends.
yeah.
And whenever we would work a scene together, I would say, I don't know, Drew, does that feel good to you? What do you think? So I really, when I work with kids, I pretty much treat them as an equal actor on the set.
Hmm.
And it really works for all of us.
Wow, wow. Did you stay in touch, by the way, with Drew and all
Oh
the kids?
yeah, not as much with Drew. Both the boys and I do a lot of conventions together right now because last year was the 40th
Right.
anniversary of ET. Um, and all of us went back to do Drew's show.
Oh,
I
wow.
did it solo first, and then we all went back as a family and reunited. So beautiful episode. You can find it on YouTube, I think.
How did you feel the first time you saw Drew?
I just felt love.
Mm,
I just felt love for her. She didn't have it real easy growing up,
mm-mm.
and what she has created out of herself and created for other people. I'm very proud of her.
Yeah, she's got a little of your energy, actually.
Yeah, she
She really
does.
does. She does.
She does.
Something I wanted to ask you about, and if it's too sensitive, then please let me know. But I'm looking at your credits. I'm looking at the Frighteners, and I did see that your husband had passed almost
Yeah.
right at that.
Oh, during
uh,
he
Oh, it was
he
during the
passed.
film.
Yeah. And he had a heart attack, so they flew me back. Uh, they said he was fine, so I flew back to finish the movie. 4 days later, a blood clot hit his heart and he was gone. So I flew back again, put on his party, and picked up my nanny and my kid and flew back to finish the film.
How?
Because
How?
that's the way my mother taught me,
Mm,
is that sorry, every time I talk about my mom, I get all, um,
okay.
she taught me that you don't allow life to define you. You know, my my father was a severe alcoholic who ended up committing suicide,
Oh,
and I saw my mom pick herself up, get her family through, and just really be this pillar of strength while I know she was dissolving inside, because she had just finally moved us out of the house into another house.
wow.
And then a month later, he committed suicide. So I'm sure there was a lot of guilt going on within her. But she was a rock. And my paternal grandmother, who really helped raise me because my mom had to work all the time, we were really poor.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, Very strong woman. So I had two really, really strong matriarchal gods
Yeah.
to learn from. And so I went back and I finished shooting. And I want to tell you this about Peter Jackson, because he's such an extraordinary man and director. And so I kept saying, I how do I pay for all these flights? And the producer said, don't worry, Dee, you can settle up after the movie. Well, it would have been every cent I was making on the movie.
From Australia or New Zealand, wherever. Yeah.
New Zealand, yeah. And we're talking 4 times halfway across the world within 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
So I went in to the bookkeeper to settle up at the end of the movie, and she said, no, Dee, this is Peter's gift to you. He's just taking care of this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, wouldn't happen a lot, but it happened with Peter Jackson.
That's pretty cool. I mean, we're talking about the guy that did Lord of the Rings. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah,
What
and heavenly creatures.
Oh, I forgot. That's right.
Oh my God. The first day on the set, I walked up to him and I said, Peter, please get half the performance out of me that you got from your girls in Heavenly Creatures. He
Wow.
laughed. He said, well, a lot of that's up to you, you know. Yeah, he was great.
That's pretty incredible. Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that, because that's I know it's very personal, but I, I mean, literally, I was just like, how do you do that? That's just amazing. I
I
kind
don't
of get
know
it.
how I did it.
Yeah.
I really didn't know whether I was coming or going.
Yeah, I bet. I
But,
bet.
they have a lot of belief in alternative medicine, and the producer sent me to her doctor who did energy healing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is what I do now. And it's kind of kismet, really. how all of this information that I needed for my healing work came in over different parts of my life.
Was that the
And
start of it?
I walked in, and she took one look at me and she said, "Oh my God, Dee, you have no energy force. Lay down on the table. I'm going to work on your energy force before I open your chakras and everything." And I had understanding about some of this, but I'd never really experienced it. And she laid stones on all my chakras, and I'm telling you, by the time I walked out of that room, I felt like I'd been reborn. And the minute I got back to the States, I started researching energy healing.
Oh my gosh, that's where
Which
you
is,
start. That's what really ignited it, huh?
well, it reignited it. I channeled a lot when I was a little girl,
Really?
and all kids do, and actually all people do. Channeling is just getting you out of the way so that you can receive the energy and information, because all of the energy and information is just hanging out right above us. But like the good book says, you have to ask to receive.
Right.
So when Christopher died, I dropped to my knees and I said, "Look, I don't want to be pissed off. I don't want to be a victim. I want a way we can heal ourselves." And I asked, and within 10 seconds, I got the first message, which was use the light within you to heal yourself. And I've kind of been exploring that ever since.
Wow, that is amazing. By
Yeah.
the way, we talked about your new book, and I think it's a good time to actually segue to that as we're talking about this. Um, Part of what I had read, and this is another one. Tell me if this is true. Is that by the way, for everybody out there, the book is called Born, and it sounded like some of it, it was kind of like things that you related to from ET. Is there truth in that, or is that just like
No.
marketing? Yeah. Okay.
In retrospect,
Yeah.
uh, and it came from somebody asking me a question about did I start my work because of what I got from ET? And I kind of stopped and went, no, but the message in ET is everything I teach.
Oh, wow.
So, that's the way the universe works. When you're clear about what you want, it comes to you in the most interesting, fascinating, mind-blowing ways. If you just get out of the way, our job is to know exactly what we want and feel a lot of love and excitement around it. Most people know what they want and are kind of pissed off and disappointed that they don't have it.
Mhm.
And that won't create it for them. Like um, people who want money don't like money because they don't have enough money. But you have to love whatever you want to bring into manifestation. My channel says it very clearly, whatever you want, love it more.
Mm, interesting. What when you by the way, in relation to ET, what would you say that message is that was in ET that then, came forward in
Well, he definitely knew what he wanted, didn't he? He wanted to get
Yeah.
back home.
Yeah.
His message to the kids in the world: keep your heart open, keep your light shining around what you want. He trusted other energy around him to help create what he wanted with him. And he got back home.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
right.
in a nutshell, I just really defined the manifestation process. You see, everything's energy. We learned that in fifth grade. Everything is energy. Your thoughts are energy. Your feelings are energy. Your actions, obviously, energy. And energy must have direction in order to move into physical manifestation. If you want to make ice, you have to go, I want to make ice.
Mm-hmm.
Put the water in the ice tray, put the ice tray in the freezer, take it out, get your ice out, and make your scotch. Okay, so all energy works like that. Know what you want, feel love and excitement around it. Oh, yeah, I'm going to make some ice for my drink. Yeah, right? Take action, trust, and allow it to take on physical manifest. Look, this is the way I created my baby.
Mm-hmm.
Every specialist I saw said I'd never have a child. I said, thanks for sharing. God and I have a different plan. She's 35. She just brought in my first grandchild.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's cool.
How I created ET. I made a list of everything that I wanted. Major feature film, a beautiful part, a film that would touch people and move people. I focused on that for maybe a month and a half. And by focusing, I mean, I would just read everything I want and go, oh God, that feels like how much I love my dog. Yeah.
Oh my.
Month and a half, boom, I get the call. It's rather magical to watch, and I define the whole process really easily and simply in Born.
Wow. Wow.
That's what the whole book is about, is the formula for creating what you want.
That is extremely inspiring. I got to tell you that's pretty cool. I know I'm going to get it, by the way, because I was very taken by that. That's pretty cool.
Thank
That's
you.
really um
Thank you.
to by the way, this was in my head because you had mentioned earlier we're trying to figure out the earlier show that you were on or whatever, and I don't know why. I don't know why. It's probably because we're talking about right now. But David Soul passed very just like a week
I
ago or so,
know.
and
Yeah.
I've had Paul Michael Glaser on, who is a wonderful, wonderful man, by the way. And
Fabulous.
yeah, I just was curious. Weird segue, but I mean that just came into my head, so I go with it. Do you recall being on the show?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. It was a very, very happy experience for me. And the the boys invited me in for lunch in their trailer one day,
Ah,
you know, and everybody said, "Oh my God, Dee, don't go to their trailer." You know, you can take the girl out of Kansas. And I said, "No, they're not that way. It's not that way." And I went in and we had a great lunch and we laughed and they were just, I don't know, there's something about me that people just want to take care of, I think. Because they knew, you know, it was it was very interesting. I won't use his name, but there was a very big actor, and I was doing I was a guest star on the show, and I had this thing where I would do deep knee bends and do this and before every scene. And he kind of was joking with me and making fun of me. And so you got to do that before every scene, huh? Right? And I said, well, it's, you know, it's my process I learned in class. By the third day, he was going, can you teach me how to do that? Because you could see the difference in the energy. He could see it,
yeah.
you know. Um, my very first guest star role was with Angie Dickinson on Policewoman.
Oh, totally. Oh my God, one of my
And
favorites, by the way.
it was a battered wife.
Whoa.
And so we got to my close up and we did it. And the director said, awesome, we're moving on. I said, I can do it better. Could I have one more? And he
Oh,
went, Dee, it was great. And Angie said to him, whatever his name was, this is our guest star actress. If she wants another one, we give her another one.
I love it.
And so we did. And the director came over to me and he said, you're right. It was better. I didn't think it could have been. And it was. And I never forgot that about Angie. And every time somebody walked on one of my sets, I went out of my way to welcome them, make them at home, support them in whatever way I could. It made such a difference,
Mm-hmm.
to know that the lead actress was that down to earth and on your side. It's not easy for guest stars walking into, you're walking into a company, everybody knows each other, they know
Right.
the jokes, they know the timing, they know the rhythm that everybody has, and you're trying to kind of in a day or a week prove yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's nice not to have to.
Right. It's that's so great to hear, by the way, on a personal level. I'm a huge, Starsky and Hutch fan, and to hear that those guys took you in and had warmth, you know,
Yeah.
that's cool. And then to hear that Angie Dickinson, who, by the way, I mean, we're not talking about just, oh, she had her own television series. I mean, she was with like Sinatra and all these, she was on that
Yeah.
level.
She was a movie star.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And for her to step up for you, boy, does that say just mountains, you know?
Yeah.
That's really something.
I've been very, very lucky in my career working with people like that and Dudley and talented kids.
Mhm.
And I've just been uh, pretty fortunate.
As always, thanks for listening, and please hit the subscription button and the notification bell so that you can be notified when I have a new episode. And also go check out some of my other episodes, like Jerry Mathers, Henry Winkler, Judy Norton, so many. Enjoy.